science fiction on a screen so bright. Old classics and the new delights. The unapologetic geek will lead the way, with facts and fun to fill your day. Discussing every detail, every frame, from the eerie to the loud and the tame. Gig along with all that's great, those Sunday vibes you can't debate. Tug along with the Sunday crew, geeking out is what we do. Giggle on, it's gonna be great. Don't be late, let's celebrate.
Welcome to TUG Chat, where we come to talk about all our favorite subjects and geeky obsessions. Today is going to be a little bit different. We're not going to talk about sci-fi movies. What happened was I was on vacation, as most of you probably know. And while I was on vacation, my mom made me watch The Accountant, which, aside from the very boring title, is basically an action movie that involves a hero with autism. And I did not want to see that because, full disclosure, I have a son who is on the spectrum and has dealt with autism, and I've had to deal with autism because of that, and learn about autism and learn about all the ins and outs and all the nuance. And in movies, they 99% of the time get autism completely wrong. It's what we call the Rain Man effect in autism circles, in ASD circles. And so for that reason, I just avoided this movie like the plague. I heard Ben Affleck was good in it. I heard it was a decent action movie, but I wasn't interested because of that. But then when I finally did sit down and watch it, and the sequel, I came to really appreciate it, like, a lot. It's not the greatest action movie in the world. It's got some really stupid twists at the end. I mean, like, not stupid, like, they do work. It's a little much. Like, there's a lot of coincidences. But, I mean, other than that, I really like these movies, and I really, really appreciate the message, especially of the first movie, about how we treat people with unique abilities. And so, because of that, I immediately texted my friend Zach, right here, who I have never had on my channel before, but who's been a friend of mine online for a while. And I've been dying to get him on this channel. Like, I wanted to talk about post-apocalyptic movies and survivalist stuff, because I know that's like his alley. But after seeing this movie, I knew I had to get him on to talk about it. So this is Zach. I'm going to let him introduce himself. And that's it. Go ahead. Introduce yourself, Zach.
Hey everyone, I'm Zach, and thank you Tug for having me on your channel. Excited to share a bit about myself and my passion project, my unique prepping channel. I live with cerebral palsy CP, a neurological condition that affects movement and coordination due to brain damage or developmental differences before, during, or shortly after birth. For me, it was caused by my umbilical cord getting wrapped around my neck 3 times, and my birth doctor didn't notice it until he pulled me out, and unfortunately caused me to be dead for 27 minutes. I have mild CP that affects my coordination, and my ability to walk and talk normally, but I've adapted to live independently. Despite the challenges, I've learned to embrace my unique perspective and use it to inspire others. Living with CP has taught me resilience, adaptability, and the importance of being prepared for life's uncertainties. That's where my unique prepping channel comes in. I created it to share practical prepping tips tailored for people with unique abilities, especially those with conditions like CP, while also offering valuable advice for everyone. My mission is to empower individuals to build confidence, independence, and preparedness for emergencies, no matter their physical abilities. It's creating accessible emergency kits, planning for mobility challenges, or sharing strategies for self-reliance. I want to show that prepping is for everyone. On my channel, you'll find community discussions anywhere from talking about unique abilities to future of growing food, videos on me planting potatoes, teaching different ways of doing stuff and more. My goal is to foster a community where we learn from each other, celebrate our strengths, and prepare for the future with optimism.
Yeah, so I have been a fan of his community for a while now, and he's got some of the best people in his community. So I highly recommend, if this is the first time you're hearing about Zach or seeing Zach on any streams, go check out his channel at Unique Prepping. He's got some great stuff. He just posted a video yesterday about getting dressed, which is something most of us take for granted. But I think it's an important watch. So anyway, let me go ahead and say hi to everybody on the chat. We got Sean Ennis just popped up. Saturday Live. I do lives on Saturdays. Oh, wait, we got it. We have a friend joining the panel. Hello,
Hey.
Shane.
Hello there. I was just so interested in this movie. You mentioned this movie. I'm gonna have to watch it now.
Yeah, you should. It's actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It's actually pretty good, especially the first one. Like the second one, we'll talk about it later, but the second one gets a little silly. And like you can probably tell, like this panel, we're not going to be reviewing the movie so much. Like I've pretty much given you my thoughts. It's an action movie. If you like action movies, you'll probably like it. It's very Jason Bourne-esque. It's just the main character happens to have autism.
Yeah.
And John Bernthal is also in it. You know, the guy who plays the Punisher, and Shane from The Walking Dead. And I love him so much. I like everything he does. So yeah, I don't think he's done any wrong yet. We'll see. He's going to be in the new Spider-Man movie, which is being run by Sony and Marvel. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, I want to see him in a Spider-Man movie, but I don't trust Sony and I don't trust Marvel anymore. So anyway, that's beside the point. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'll trust Sony with Spider-Man. I mean,
I like the Spider-Man movies so far, but
yeah, I don't trust Disney Marvel with it.
No, me neither. Especially when you're talking about the Punisher. Like, how are they possibly going to do right by the Punisher? I don't know.
They won't.
So anyway,
they're watering down too much stuff.
Oh, they are for sure. But that's a whole nother subject for another day.
Yeah. Sorry. What's up, Zach?
Glad to see you. So where was I? Oh, so yeah, this isn't just going to be a review. I really wanted to talk about this specifically because of how it deals with people with unique abilities, like Zach and my son. Because I feel like the message of the movie, without really giving anything away, is basically about, it's about how a person with unique abilities integrates into the world and how the world integrates into them, and how we should definitely not take any of that for granted. And it's more nuanced than a movie like Rain Man. So anyway, that leads me into my first question, which I'm going to ask. How does the film's portrayal of unique abilities reflect the real day-to-day struggle of uniquely abled people to be accepted?
Films portray a protagonist with autism whose exceptional mathematical and combat abilities shape his identity as a forensic accountant and assassin, offering a lens into how unique abilities are perceived in society. His savant-like skills in pattern recognition and calculations allow him to unravel complex financial schemes with ease, presenting his neurodivergence as a near-superhuman gift. Depiction aligns with a common media trope that emphasizes extraordinary talents in autistic individuals, often overshadowing the broader spectrum of experiences. In reality, while some autistic people may excel in specific areas, such as mathematics or memory, savant syndrome is rare, affecting less than 10% of those with autism spectrum disorder (ASD). Films focus on these heightened abilities risks creating a narrative that acceptance is contingent on being exceptional, which does not reflect the day-to-day reality for most uniquely abled individuals who seek inclusion without needing to prove extraordinary worth. For someone with cerebral palsy (CP), like myself, this emphasis on exceptionalism might resonate as a pressure to overcome physical challenges in dramatic ways, rather than being valued for everyday resilience or contributions, such as those you promote through my Unique Prepping channel. The protagonist's combat prowess, developed through rigorous training to manage sensory sensitivities, further amplifies the portrayal of his autism as a source of hypercompetence. Scenes depict him using his focus and precision for marksmanship and martial arts, suggesting that his neurodivergence enhances his ability to perform under pressure. While this makes for compelling cinema, it strays far from the lived experiences of most autistic individuals, who may channel their focus into less sensational pursuits, like mastering a hobby or navigating daily routines. For uniquely abled people, including those with CP, the struggle for acceptance often involves advocating for accommodations, such as accessible spaces or sensory-friendly environments, rather than being celebrated for extreme skills. The film's narrative implies that the protagonist's value lies in his ability to outperform others, which can marginalize those who face barriers in routine tasks, like mobility or communication, and seek acceptance for their inherent worth. Channel's mission to make preparedness inclusive directly counters this by emphasizing practical empowerment for all, regardless of physical or cognitive abilities. Social and emotional challenges are a significant aspect of the protagonist's portrayal, reflecting some authentic struggles of autistic individuals. Difficulty with social cues, reliance on rituals like specific eating habits or sensory regulation techniques, and sensory sensitivities highlight the real-world experiences of many on the spectrum. For instance, his use of a sensory room with lights and music mirrors strategies some autistic people employ to manage overstimulation. However, the films frame these traits as quirks that complement his exceptional abilities, rather than as challenges that require societal understanding. Daily life, autistic individuals and those with CP often face rejection due to misunderstandings about their behaviors, such as stimming or mobility differences, yet acceptance hinges on others adapting to their needs, not on the individual conforming to neurotypical or able-bodied norms. My unique prepping channel addresses this by promoting strategies tailored to unique abilities, fostering a community where unique needs are met with practical solutions, not judgment. The film's reliance on a neurotypical actor and lack of autistic input in their creation underscores a broader issue in unique ability representation. Critics, including autistic advocates, have noted that the portrayal feels inauthentic, relying on stereotypes rather than lived experiences. For example, the protagonist's character draws on outdated notions of high-functioning autism, ignoring the diversity of the spectrum and the voices of autistic individuals who advocate for nothing about us without us. This mirrors the real-world struggle for uniquely abled people to be included in decisions about their representation, whether in media, workplaces, or policy. For someone with CP, this might resonate as a lack of agency in spaces that assume what accessibility looks like without consulting those affected. My channel's focus on empowering unique abled individuals through preparedness directly addresses this gap, giving a platform to practical, community-driven solutions that reflect real needs, not Hollywood assumptions. Depiction of the protagonist's social isolation and yearning for connection captures a universal struggle that resonates with many uniquely abled individuals. His awkward but earnest attempts to bond, such as with a colleague or his estranged brother, highlight the emotional toll of being misunderstood. This reflects the real-world experience of autistic people and those with CP, who may face social exclusion due to societal discomfort with their differences. Acceptance often requires others to bridge the gap, as seen in moments where characters meet the protagonist halfway, appreciating his efforts to connect. However, the film's resolution of his isolation through extraordinary feats, rather than everyday empathy, misses the mark. Unique prepping fosters a sense of community by encouraging shared learning and support, directly addressing the need for inclusion and understanding that many uniquely abled people seek in their daily lives. Finally, the film's association of the protagonist's autism with violence raises concerns about harmful stereotypes. His role as an assassin, enabled by his neurodivergent traits, risks perpetuating misconceptions that autistic individuals are prone to aggression, when in reality, behaviors like meltdowns are often responses to sensory or emotional overload. For those with CP, similar stereotypes about physical limitations or dependency can hinder acceptance, as society may overlook their autonomy or capabilities. Film's focus on violence as a path to agency contrasts with the real-world need for systemic change, such as accessible environments or inclusive policies, to support uniquely abled individuals. Mission to make prepping accessible offers a counter-narrative, emphasizing empowerment through practical, inclusive strategies that value unique abled individuals as they are, not as sensationalized archetypes. By promoting preparedness for all, you challenge the notion that acceptance requires extraordinary feats, instead advocating for a world where everyone's unique abilities are celebrated in everyday contexts. UP out.
No, that is all entirely fair and well said. And that's a lot of what I was worried about with this movie. It does actually do that. I think where this movie is strongest is, like you said, where it talks about, where it shows the difficulty in socializing, like with the colleague Anna Kendrick, or with his brother. Spoiler alert: John Bernthal is his brother. I really appreciate those scenes for showing the difficulty in socializing. The second movie, like I said before, kind of makes it a little too jokey. Like he hacks into the algorithm of a dating system to try to find love, and that's just a little too far. That's a little too silly for me. But I do appreciate, and especially the scenes there's some flashbacks in the first scene where you see him going to it's like half school, half hospital for people with unique abilities, basically. The main guy there, the doctor, is trying to explain to the parents that your expectations for a child with autism are going to change over time. You're not necessarily going to be thinking about the same things a normal parent would be what he calls NTs, neurotypicals, would want from their child. Like, it's going to be different. That doesn't make your child any less than or greater than. It just means your child is a little different. And, as a parent of somebody with autism, that speaks to me. I think that scene is actually very well done. It does do that thing where they show somebody with autism and then you have to show them doing something extraordinary. So he's like putting together a puzzle upside down. That's a little silly, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. It's just it's again reinforcing that stereotype that if you're autistic, you must have some special skill in something. You must be a savant. And that's savantism and autism are not the same thing. But yeah, I have a question further on that talks about parenting, and we'll get to that. But go ahead, Shane.
I think you kind of answered my question, but what do you think, unique? Like is it a good thing or bad thing that you said they're missing the mark? But what about the concept or the thought of Hollywood trying to bring acknowledgement to people with unique abilities? The representation factor. Is it a good thing or bad thing? Whether they're hitting the mark or not, maybe they're doing it the wrong way. I think the worst one is the Predator with that kid that was supposed to have Asperger's.
You're gonna make me say bad words on my channel if you bring up that movie.
But we have, I mean, I think we can agree a good one is Rain Man.
For its time, like if Rain Man came out today,
for its time, yes.
Hate it. But for its time, it was trying to shine a light on something that most people weren't familiar with. Unfortunately, it set up a lot of those stereotypes that have persisted to this day. But for what it was trying to do earnestly, I can't hold that against it. So yeah, and I feel similarly about this movie. It does a lot of things wrong, but I appreciate its earnestness in trying to be representative of people that are easily overlooked.
I guess really my question is like, do you think Hollywood should stay away from it or do better of doing proper representation? A lot of the stuff that's going on in Hollywood now is just all like DEI inclusivity stuff.
Well, yeah, that's tokenism. That's not really representation.
Yeah.
And again, I really do feel like it depends on what the filmmakers were trying to do. And if you watch The Accountant, and especially like the last scene, I feel they make it very clear that they're very earnestly trying to essentially give autistic people some kind of representation, some kind of like hero to aspire to, some kind of role model. Even though objectively, he's not a good dude. He's a murderer. Just for the record, he's John Wick. But it's I feel like it's trying to do something right. It's trying to show representation without being overtly offensive. I do again agree with Unique that it gets some things wrong, but yeah, it's hard to answer that question.
Give us good representation and not exploitation.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he's typing on a fury storm there.
Yeah, he's got a lot to say.
Let me tell you.
French TV series Astrid et Raphael. Okay, I've never even heard of it.
Is that a movie?
Apparently, it's a TV series.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't know about that movie. Out of My Mind. We'll have to ask Zach when he's done ranting.
But then you get movies like I watched some of it last night. It just happened to be on Limitless. With Bradley Cooper. It's just like, oh, I got to manipulate my senses and make me special and have these unique abilities. And it's like, no, don't manipulate the stuff. You need to be naturally good at what you're doing. You naturally have this ability, and they're like, oh, I'm just enhancing it. What was that other one? The one with Black Widow, whatever her name was.
There it is. There's your focus.
What was the name of that movie? Salt, Sugar? No,
Salt.
that was
that was Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, the one where they implanted her. Morgan Freeman was in it. Jeez,
Lucy.
Yeah, that one.
Both those movies are based on a premise that has been debunked for like 50 years, like the whole 10% of your brain thing. That's not real, and I can't get past that. I just can't. Making a movie these days about that, and it just bothers me. Anyway,
Thanks, Zach's ready.
I hope so. You ready, Zach? His autofocus is not working very well.
What are you doing over there?
Hi, Snarky.
Think it's both, good and bad, in a sense that wanting to help people understand, but the bad part is the way they portray us. I believe that representation is less than what is needed. And I haven't, Nicole, but I will.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I was trying to say. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that leads in perfectly to the second question. The accountant movies have come under fire for combining unique abilities with violence. Do you think that's a fair criticism? Why or why not?
Criticism that the accountant films unfairly combine unique abilities with violence overlooks the narrative context of the protagonist's autism, which is not portrayed as the cause of his violent actions.
That's true.
His skills as an assassin stem from rigorous training by his military father, not an inherent link between autism and aggression. The films depict his neurodivergence as enhancing his mathematical precision and focus, which he applies to both accounting and combat, but the violence is a product of his environment and choices, not his disability. This distinction is crucial, as it avoids suggesting that autism predisposes someone to violence. Critics who focus on this combination may miss the broader story of a man navigating a dangerous world using his unique strengths, much like any action hero, uniquely abled or not. Someone with cerebral palsy running a channel like Unique Prepping, this framing could resonate as a call to leverage personal strengths, not a harmful stereotype. The film's portrayal of violence is consistent with the action thriller genre, not a deliberate attempt to malign uniquely abled individuals. Action films often endow protagonists with exceptional skills, whether physical, intellectual, or tactical, to drive the plot, and the protagonist's autism serves as a narrative device to explain his extraordinary abilities, not to equate neurodivergence with violence. Combat prowess, developed through years of training to manage sensory sensitivities, reflects a disciplined response to his circumstances, not a pathological trait. Critics arguing that this portrayal is harmful may overemphasize the autism-violence link while ignoring the genre's conventions, which demand high-stakes action regardless of the hero's traits. This perspective aligns with the empowerment ethos of unique prepping, where unique abilities are harnessed for practical, positive outcomes like preparedness. The criticism also risks oversimplifying the protagonist's character arc, which humanizes his struggles beyond his violent actions. His autism is depicted through realistic traits like sensory overload, social awkwardness, and reliance on routines, showing the challenges of navigating a neurotypical world. The violence he engages in is a plot device to highlight his agency and survival instincts, not a commentary on autism itself. By focusing on the violence, critics may undervalue the film's efforts to portray his emotional depth, such as his longing for connection with his brother or colleague. Someone with a unique ability like CP, this nuanced portrayal could reflect the real-world struggle to be seen as multifaceted, not defined solely by one aspect of their identity, much like my channel's mission to show unique abled individuals as capable and prepared. The films avoid explicitly linking autism to violence by grounding the protagonist's actions in his backstory, not his neurodivergence. His father's harsh training, designed to toughen him against societal rejection, shapes his combat skills, not his autism itself. This narrative choice separates his violent actions from his unique ability, countering the idea that the films exploit unique abilities to justify violence. Critics who argue otherwise may project assumptions onto the story, ignoring how it critiques societal pressures rather than endorses harmful stereotypes. For a unique prepping audience, this could parallel the resilience required to adapt to a world not designed for unique abilities, where personal strengths are used to overcome external challenges, not to harm others. The criticism also fails to acknowledge the film's broader cultural context, where unique ability representation is often limited to inspirational or tragic tropes. By casting an autistic character as a complex action hero, the films challenge these stereotypes, presenting him as neither a victim nor a saint but a person with agency, flaws, and strengths. The violence is a genre-driven element, not a statement about autism, and serves to make the character compelling in a mainstream blockbuster. Approach, while imperfect, broadens the depiction of uniquely abled individuals beyond passive roles, aligning with the proactive empowerment of my channel, which encourages unique abled individuals to take charge of their preparedness and independence. Focus on violence as problematic ignores the film's attempt to balance the protagonist's abilities with his vulnerabilities, creating a character who resonates with audiences seeking authentic representation. His sensory sensitivities, social struggles, and need for routines ground his character in real autistic experiences, even if exaggerated for cinematic effect. The violence serves as a narrative tool to showcase his resilience, not to demonize his unique ability. Critics who deem this combination unfair may overlook the film's contribution to visibility for uniquely abled individuals, which parallels my mission to highlight the capabilities of unique abled people in practical, empowering ways, showing that unique abilities can be a source of strength without harmful connotations. UP out.
Now, see, this is why I had to have Zach on my channel. He said it exactly right. I was worried he wasn't gonna point this out, that the movie makes it abundantly clear that his violent nature is not autism, it's his upbringing. Yeah, Zach said it better than I possibly could, but yeah, you're right, you're absolutely right.
But I gotta ask you, is it wrong for the Hollywood aside, for someone to have whatever's going on with them, let's just say autism, and you have that focused in thing, and you use it to your advantage, whether that be him being a mercenary assassin. Is it wrong for him to hone in on that and exploit it and use it and become good at what he does?
No, I mean,
Um,
and that's what his. I mean, that leads into the next question, which I'll talk about in a second. But that's kind of what his
uh,
father was trying to do, was trying to hone his autism in a different way. Whereas if this were just like a drama movie, it wasn't an action movie, it didn't have the constraints of the genre, like Zach was talking about, then he
yeah,
could be an accountant just because he's so good with numbers that he could just be a great accountant. And he is a great accountant. That's not the point. He's a great accountant who happens to work in the criminal underworld and can fight martial arts and basically gun kata.
I'd love to see a movie with somebody with cerebral palsy that institutes that and learns like drunken kung fu and can whoop your butt. And it's
Well,
just like, how did I get beat by you? It's like, I can
I don't
move
want to
in
be
this
stuck
way
in a room with
naturally.
Zach and he wants to kill me because he's
Oh,
going to stab me. I've seen his
have you
knife.
seen his knife skills? Yes.
And if he does stab me, I won't say that's because of his cerebral palsy. It'll just be because sometimes you got to stab it, you know?
That boy got moves like Jagger.
And yeah, in the movie, there's another flashback where like his mother leaves. Like his mother leaves him and his brother and his father. And he's having a meltdown, as any child would. And his is extreme because he's autistic. And yeah, he does get a little violent. He kicks a hole in the wall. And he's like throwing tchotchkes against the wall and shattering them, and no big loss. And I feel like it does it realistically. Like when my son was younger, he had a few meltdowns like that, and that's actually pretty normal. But I think a lot of people miss that that's just a way. It's not all that different from how a normal kid would react. I really don't think it is. And he finds strategies to cope with that are non-violent, like the whole repeating the Solomon Grundy reverse over and over again, stimming, things like that. And the whole sensory overload room that he does as an adult is kind of like stimming on steroids. And like Zach pointed out, that is a legitimate strategy that some people use. I can't imagine my son trying to do that. But it is a legit strategy. I think it's an extreme version of it, but it is a legit strategy. I don't remember where I was going, so I'm going to go ahead and lead into the third question. So in the films, Christian's abusive father, in the most charitable interpretation, and this is extremely charitable, represents a tough love approach to raising a child with unique abilities. What merit, if any, is there to the notion that a child should be forced to adjust to an unaccommodating world at an early age? I'm sure Zach has a lot of thoughts on this.
Well, that's molding.
Forcing a child with unique abilities, like Christian in the accountant films, to adjust to an unaccommodating world through a tough love approach, as depicted by his abusive father's harsh training, lacks merit because it prioritizes conformity over emotional well-being. My own childhood with cerebral palsy, growing up without a mother's nurturing love, taught me that a child's unique traits need support, not suppression. The absence of maternal warmth left me craving connection, yet I found it by building a community through my unique prepping channel, where I empower others to prepare for emergencies in ways that honor their individuality. Forcing a child to adapt to a world not built for them, through relentless exposure to sensory overload or physical demands, as Christian endured, ignores the emotional toll of such methods. A child's early years should foster self-acceptance, not a sense that their differences are flaws to be overcome. Christian's father subjects him to military-style training to desensitize his sensory sensitivities, implying that a child must toughen up to survive societal rejection. This approach dismisses the value of creating an environment where a child's unique needs are met. Growing up, I faced a world unaccommodating to my mobility challenges, and without a mother's love to soften those struggles, I could have internalized society's barriers as personal failings. Instead, I learned resilience by finding ways to navigate life on my terms, later channeling that into unique prepping to help others adapt preparedness to their unique needs. Forcing a child to conform early risks eroding their confidence, teaching them their natural state is inadequate. A child thrives when supported to embrace their strengths, not when pushed to fit a mold that disregards their reality. Tough love philosophy assumes a child's unique abilities are obstacles to be fixed rather than traits to be nurtured. Christian's father drills him in combat and exposure therapy, believing it prepares him for a harsh world, but this neglects the emotional scars left by such rigidity. My own experience, lacking a mother's nurturing, showed me that love and acceptance, not harsh discipline, build resilience. Through unique
Hmm.
prepping, I've created a community that celebrates unique abilities, offering practical solutions like accessible emergency kits instead of demanding conformity to an ableist world. Children forced to adjust early may suppress their authentic selves, leading to internalized shame or isolation. Supporting a child's unique needs, like providing sensory tools or mobility aids, fosters confidence to face the world without breaking their spirit. This approach also overlooks the societal responsibility to adapt to diverse needs. Christian's father places the burden on him to change, ignoring that society can and should evolve to be more inclusive. Growing up, I faced physical and social barriers without a mother's advocacy, yet I found empowerment by connecting with others who valued my perspective, leading to my mission with unique prepping to make preparedness inclusive. Forcing a child to adjust to an unaccommodating world shifts the blame onto them, excusing society's failure to provide accessibility or understanding. Children deserve environments, schools, homes, communities, that accommodate their needs, like ramps for mobility or quiet spaces for sensory regulation, rather than being forced to endure a world that rejects their differences. Emotional cost of tough love can outweigh any supposed benefits, as it risks alienating a child from their own identity. Christian's training leaves him isolated, yearning for connection, a struggle I relate to from growing up without maternal love. That void drove me to build a community through unique prepping, where I help others feel seen and valued for their unique abilities. Forcing a child to conform early can create a sense of disconnection, as they learn to prioritize others' expectations over their own needs. Emotional support, like affirming a child's strengths or teaching self-advocacy, equips them to navigate challenges without sacrificing their sense of self. Christian's story, while cinematic, shows the toll of a childhood spent fighting to fit in rather than being embraced for who he is. The notion that early adjustment prepares a child for a harsh world ignores the power of community and advocacy to change that world. My journey, marked by the absence of a mother's love, led me to create unique prepping, where I foster a community that supports each other's unique needs, proving that collective empowerment can reshape societal barriers. Christian's father's approach isolates him, teaching him to rely on individual strength rather than seeking or building supportive networks. Children with unique abilities benefit from learning to advocate for accommodations and connect with others who share their experiences, not from being forced to face an unyielding world alone. My channel's mission reflects this, showing that preparedness is about collaboration and inclusion, not solitary endurance. Forcing a child to adjust to an unaccommodating world dismisses the long-term harm of prioritizing external expectations over internal growth. Christian's father believes harsh training will make him resilient, but it contributes to his emotional struggles and isolation. My own path, without a mother's nurturing, could have led to bitterness, but I transformed that lack into love for a community through unique prepping, where I empower others to prepare in ways that respect their unique abilities. Children need environments that celebrate their differences, through tailored education, supportive families, or inclusive spaces, not pressure to conform at the cost of their mental health. By teaching children to value their unique strengths and advocate for their needs, we prepare them to thrive in a world that can learn to accommodate them, not the other way around. UP out.
Again, exactly right. Uh like I feel like the movie does a decent job showing that Christian's father is not a good dude. By any stretch of the imagination. And that notion of trying to hone his autism for violence and for other strengths like that. Sorry, my wife is doing something weird and making a lot of noise. um,
Stop using that dial up.
I do feel like it also shows that it does the same thing to his other son, who does not have any autism or any other kind of neurodivergence, and he later in life becomes, he's the Punisher. He's not a good dude either. They're both very isolated to the point that they have a hard time even connecting with each other. Like, I'm sorry, I'm spoiling the ending of the first movie, but in the end of the first movie, they finally see each other face to face, and it's been something like 15 years since they talked. And Christian acts like there's nothing wrong, that it's just, yeah, I've been trying to keep you out of my life because I'm dangerous, basically. And John Bernthal's like, dude, you could just give me a call. Both of them have become a little psychopathic because of how they were abused as a child. And it's shown that is not a healthy outlet in any way, stretch, or form for dealing with autism. Like, sure, learning martial arts, fantastic. Torturing your children with martial arts, not so good. Like, I can speak from experience as a parent of somebody on the spectrum. You have to make this choice very early on as a parent. Are you going to do this tough love thing and try to make them fit themselves to the world that's not necessarily going to be accommodating? Or do you just let them embrace everything about themselves, including the things that might make their lives more difficult, and just advocate for change in the greater world? Are you willing to change? Are you willing to try to change the world for your own children? And I think the only correct answer is yes. You should be willing to try to change the entire world for your children. I think if you try to mold your child into the world, there's gonna be side effects, and they're not gonna be good side effects. You're gonna lead to some kind of social isolation. You're gonna lead to them self-hating, because they're gonna get to a point where they think all of the problems in their lives are caused by their own immutable characteristic. And in this case, autism is an immutable characteristic. And I think that rings true for anybody with any kind of unique ability, be it CP or otherwise. And I think the movie tries to do that a little bit by showing you that Christian's not alone. I mean, he comes from the school, and at the school, there's another person who, big twist at the end, is actually the woman on the phone, like the man in the chair. And it's nonverbal. Not entirely sure what's wrong with her. I don't know if they said it, what her condition is. But yeah, she's like another superhero. She's just behind the scenes doing a voice box. Just, that seems kind of familiar to me. So, like, yeah, I don't believe in the tough love thing, but I understand where it comes from. And I feel like that is an outdated attitude that needs to stay outdated. And I think the movie does a good job pointing out that this is not a good thing by any means. So, yeah. Yeah, and Indy points out his other son also has issues too. Yeah. What were you about to say, Shane? Sorry.
Oh no, I lost that train of thought. Sorry.
Mine's still boarding at the station. It's okay. Okay, well,
something about some sex said. It'll come back later.
If it comes back to you, feel free to interrupt. But it kind of does lead into the next question, because in the sequel, you see the school again. It's like half school, half hospital. I'm not exactly sure what you would call that. It's like a home for kids with unique abilities. It's like Xavier School. And the sequel shows that the school has been turned into a covert spy organization that utilizes the unique abilities of its students. Basically, you get a bunch of autistic kids behind computers doing, anonymous shit. Sorry, bad word. How successful are these movies in creating modern action heroes for people, especially young people, who have unique abilities? That's the question.
Sequel introduces a school transformed into a covert spy organization, leveraging the unique abilities of its students to craft modern action heroes, offering a fresh perspective on representation for young people with distinct cognitive or physical traits. This premise taps into the appeal of empowering those often marginalized, positioning students with abilities like heightened pattern recognition or sensory acuity as key operatives in high-stakes missions. By framing their differences as strengths, the film resonates with young audiences who may feel overlooked, suggesting that their unique traits can be heroic. For someone with cerebral palsy, like myself, who grew up without maternal warmth and channeled that into building a community focused on inclusive preparedness, this narrative feels inspiring, as it mirrors the idea of turning personal challenges into assets. However, the film's success hinges on balancing authenticity with the action genre's demands, a task it navigates with mixed results. The film excels in showcasing a variety of unique abilities, presenting students with traits akin to autism, hyperfocus, or physical differences as integral to their spy roles. For instance, their skills in code breaking, strategic thinking, or adaptive problem-solving drive the plot, portraying them as capable and essential. This approach aligns with the real-world push to recognize the strengths of individuals with unique abilities, offering young viewers role models who defy stereotypes of limitation. Growing up with cerebral palsy, I faced societal assumptions about my mobility, yet found empowerment in creating a platform to help others prepare for emergencies inclusively. Film's depiction of diverse students as heroes reflects this, inspiring young people to see their differences as potential superpowers, though it risks oversimplification by tying their value to extraordinary feats. The action hero framework effectively engages young audiences by blending familiar spy tropes, high-tech gadgets, covert missions, with the novel inclusion of uniquely abled protagonists. Scenes of students using their abilities, like acute memory or sensory perception, to outsmart adversaries are thrilling and affirming, suggesting that heroism is accessible to those who think or move differently. This resonates with my own journey of overcoming a lack of nurturing by fostering a community that values practical empowerment for all. For young people, seeing characters who mirror their own unique traits as action heroes can boost confidence, encouraging them to embrace their identities. The film's reliance on sensationalized skills, like near-superhuman intellect, may distance some viewers whose abilities manifest in less cinematic ways, limiting its relatability. The film's success is tempered by its tendency to lean into action genre cliches, which can undermine the authenticity of its heroes. While the students' unique abilities are central, their portrayal as near-infallible spies risks perpetuating the trope that acceptance requires exceptionalism. In my experience, growing up with cerebral palsy meant navigating a world not built for me, but my strength came from community building, not extraordinary feats. Films focus on high-stakes missions, while exciting, may suggest to young viewers that their worth lies in outperforming others, rather than in everyday resilience or advocacy. More grounded depiction of how unique abilities enhance daily life, like my work teaching accessible preparedness, could have broadened its appeal and impact. The emotional depth of the student characters adds to the film's success in crafting relatable action heroes. Their struggles with social acceptance, self-doubt, or sensory challenges mirror real-world experiences, making them more than just action archetypes. For example, moments where students grapple with feeling different or seek belonging resonate deeply, reflecting my own path of turning childhood isolation into a mission of community empowerment. These vulnerabilities make the characters inspiring for young people, showing that heroism includes emotional growth alongside physical or intellectual prowess. However, the film occasionally glosses over these struggles to prioritize action, missing opportunities to fully explore how young people with unique abilities navigate societal barriers, which could have strengthened its message. The school's role as a covert organization highlights the potential for institutions to nurture unique abilities, a powerful message for young audiences. By training students to harness their traits for espionage, the film suggests that supportive environments can unlock potential, contrasting with my childhood lack of nurturing, which I overcame by creating a community-focused platform. This idea, that systems can adapt to celebrate differences, offers hope to young people who feel unsupported in traditional settings. The film's covert spy framework, while engaging, feels far removed from real-world institutions like schools or advocacy groups, which could have grounded its heroes in more relatable contexts, such as advocating for accessibility or inclusion in everyday life. The film's action hero model also risks alienating some young viewers by tying unique abilities to violence, a critique often leveled at the genre. While the students' missions are thrilling, the use of combat and espionage to showcase their abilities may reinforce stereotypes that link difference with aggression, rather than with creative or practical contributions. My own work focuses on empowering people through preparedness, showing that unique abilities can shine in constructive ways, like planning for emergencies. Film could have been more successful by diversifying how heroism is expressed, perhaps through problem solving or leadership, making it more inclusive for young people whose strengths lie outside physical action, especially those with physical differences like cerebral palsy. The sequel succeeds in creating modern action heroes by centering young people with unique abilities, offering a vision of empowerment that can inspire confidence and pride. Its blend of thrilling missions and emotional authenticity makes it a compelling watch for young audiences, echoing my own mission to uplift others through community and preparedness. However, its reliance on exaggerated skills and action tropes limits its ability to fully reflect the everyday heroism of those with unique abilities, who often shine in subtler, yet equally powerful, ways. By balancing its spectacle with more grounded portrayals, the film could have better served young people seeking heroes who reflect their real-world strengths and struggles, much like the inclusive empowerment I strive to foster. UP out.
Again, well said. I think there's a really tough balance when you're making a movie like this. If your audience is actual people with unique abilities, how do you give them inspiration, like prove to them that they're capable of anything and that they can do great things with that unfortunate stereotype that you have to be exceptional to be accepted? Like, how do you walk that line? I don't have an answer for that. I really don't. And I think the second movie has a kind of disconnect where it seems like it's trying to do that. It's trying to be inspirational, especially for young people with autism, but it's not a movie made for young people, like, at all. It's not a fantasy. It's an action movie. It's weird. It's a very odd disconnect. Like, I feel like if you were to make a more fantasy oriented action movie for kids and had this plot element in it, I would be 1000% on board. I would think that was great. In fact, I think it's one of the better scenes in the sequel is anything involving this school, but it feels so out of place from this. The rest of the movie is kind of like this hyper realistic action movie. It's trying to be like not so much John Wick, because John Wick is fantasy. It's trying to be like a Bourne movie. It really does feel like it's trying to be like a Bourne movie, but at the same time, it wants to have this more of like a fairy tale, kind of aspirations for kids. And I do feel like the second one kind of loses the plot a little because of that. And again, like we said before, the tone of the second movie is just all over the place. Like, it starts as basically a comedy, and then it has this like over the top action climax, and it's got all this subtext about border security. It's all over the place. It's weird. I don't hate the second movie, but compared to the first movie, it's a mess. Oh, hey, Chrissy's in the chat. Hey, Chrissy. Yeah, exactly, Indy. Like, subtle heroism in a movie where you're taking down a human trafficking organization in Mexico. It's a weird ask. I don't know what the movie was trying to do. And I do appreciate that notion that you're trying to make movies that can inspire people with unique abilities to realize that they're capable of much more than the world would have them believe. But at the same time, it is reinforcing that stereotype. So yeah. So again, that kind of does lead into the last question, which is there's reportedly a third movie in the works. And what does the relative success of the Accountant movies, which apparently were a huge hit for Amazon Prime, mean for the future of representation in Hollywood films?
Relative success of the two films, which center on a neurodivergent protagonist with exceptional mathematical and combat skills, signals a growing appetite for complex, non-traditional action heroes in Hollywood, potentially advancing representation for people with unique abilities. Franchises focus on an autistic lead who navigates high-stakes scenarios while grappling with social and sensory challenges has resonated with audiences, as evidenced by strong fan support and critical praise for the lead actor's performance, despite mixed reviews on plot coherence. This popularity suggests studios may invest more in stories featuring characters with unique cognitive or physical traits, moving beyond stereotypical portrayals of such individuals as solely inspirational or tragic figures. Someone like myself, with cerebral palsy, who grew up without maternal nurturing and built a community focused on inclusive empowerment, this shift offers hope for narratives that highlight diverse strengths, though the film's reliance on sensationalized abilities raises questions about authenticity. The film's success, particularly in blending action with emotional depth, indicates Hollywood's potential to embrace nuanced representations of unique abilities, but it also highlights persistent challenges. By portraying the protagonist's autism as both a strength in his analytical prowess and a source of personal struggle in social isolation, the film's attempt to humanize neurodivergence, resonating with audiences who relate to the character's search for connection. However, critics have noted that the absence of autistic voices in the creative process and the use of a neurotypical actor limit authenticity, reflecting a broader industry issue where representation often lacks input from the communities depicted. My own experience building a community to empower others with unique abilities underscores the need for authentic voices in storytelling. A third film could push Hollywood to involve individuals with lived experiences in its production, setting a precedent for more inclusive creative processes. The franchise's commercial viability, driven by its unique premise and action-driven storytelling, suggests studios may see financial incentive in diversifying their action heroes, potentially opening doors for young people with unique abilities to see themselves as protagonists. Sequel's introduction of a school-turned-spy organization, where students with distinct abilities are trained as operatives, taps into a youthful desire for empowerment, offering a model where differences are assets in high-stakes roles. Growing up with cerebral palsy, I found strength in creating a platform that celebrates practical empowerment, and this narrative resonates similarly by positioning young characters as capable and heroic. Yet, the film's reliance on exaggerated skills, like genius-level intellect or combat prowess, risks reinforcing the idea that acceptance requires exceptionalism, potentially alienating those whose strengths are less cinematic but equally valuable. Planned third film, with discussions of deepening the protagonist's emotional arc and possibly reintroducing a key female character, could further explore themes of connection and vulnerability, which are critical for authentic representation. This focus on personal growth over mere action spectacle could inspire Hollywood to craft stories that prioritize the humanity of characters with unique abilities, rather than their utility as plot devices. My own journey, transforming childhood isolation into a mission of community building, reflects the power of narratives that value emotional resilience alongside practical skills. However, the franchise's association of unique abilities with violence remains a point of contention, as it may perpetuate harmful stereotypes about neurodivergent individuals. Third film has the opportunity to pivot toward nonviolent expressions of heroism, aligning more closely with real-world advocacy for acceptance and inclusion. Ultimately, the franchise's success underscores both progress and pitfalls in Hollywood's approach to representation. Its popularity proves audiences are eager for heroes who reflect diverse experiences, encouraging studios to greenlight similar projects. Yet, to truly advance representation, future films, including the third in this series, must prioritize authentic voices, avoid sensationalized tropes, and depict everyday heroism alongside extraordinary feats. My work fostering an inclusive community highlights the value of practical, relatable empowerment, and Hollywood could learn from this by showcasing characters with unique abilities in varied roles, leaders, creators, or advocates, not just as action figures. The third film addresses these critiques while building on its predecessor's strengths. It could set a new standard for inclusive storytelling, inspiring young people with unique abilities to see their potential reflected on screen. UP out.
Yeah, I agree. For the most part, I do agree they should have more. Um, they should have more voices in the development process of the movie. I don't really have an issue with a neurotypical playing a neuroatypical, because Ben Affleck actually does a pretty good job, so I'm okay with it. But I think it's a step in the right direction. I really do. Like I said, I didn't want to see this movie because I was sure it was going to be the worst of my expectations, and it wasn't. It was better than that. So I guess you could say it exceeded my expectations by not being garbage. So I do feel like it's a step in the right direction. And like you said, it's proving that there's an audience for stories involving people who are not typical. And I think there's been a lot of that lately. And I think we've made a lot of progress in a very short amount of time. I mean, just 20 years ago, we had The Big Bang Theory, which, as funny as it could have been, and as much as my wife loves it, I kind of hate it. I kind of hate what it did for autism. Like now they think everybody who's neuroatypical is Sheldon, and that's not much of a better stereotype than Rain Man, honestly. um, I feel like this is a little bit better. This is a little bit more nuanced. It's and like you said, I think the third one really does need to lean into the more human aspects of Christian and less the action setup, because the second movie is mostly an action setup, but it has a couple of really neat moments. Like there's a scene where he and his brother go to a bar and Christian manages to get up the courage to dance with somebody at the bar, and it's actually a really cool scene that ends in a bar fight where of course he and his brother kick a bunch of ass. It's that kind of movie. But I thought that was a really neat character moment, and I feel like they need to build on that. I feel like the logical character arc, if they want to make this just a trilogy and not a whole franchise, which they probably want to turn it into a whole franchise, but if they wanted to just make it a trilogy, you would make the third film him learning to let go of some of the violence, that learning that there are bad things that are going to happen because of the violence. And if I were writing it, I would have to kill off his brother. I'm sorry. As much as I love John Bernthal, I'd have to kill him off to prove that like a violent way of life leads to bad ends. These violent desires have violent ends. Yeah. And yeah, my wife also likes Young Sheldon better than Big Bang Theory. I've only seen like one episode of Young Sheldon. I don't know. It was a sitcom. So I don't know what to say. But yeah, I do feel like the second movie was a drop in quality, so I don't really feel like the third film is going to do it right. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, I was wrong about the first movie. So, and as in terms of representation, I feel like Hollywood is slowly learning the lesson that there's a difference between tokenism and representation, and that it's more about having the right voices in the right places and less about, you know, here's my girl boss moment with all of our girl action heroes. You know, like I feel like this movie does a much better job. It's more nuanced. It's not trying to portray him as an infallible superhero with no flaws just because he's autistic. He obviously is a very isolated, broken man, and these movies are showing him as an action hero, but at the same time, he's not living a good life. He's really not. And he has trouble connecting, and I think that's important to highlight. So yeah, that's about all I have to say. Other than Shane, you should absolutely see these movies so we can talk about them some more. And yeah, go check out Zach's channel. I'm gonna cut it a little short tonight because today. Those of you who know, I have back pain from riding a bike of all things. Never try to do anything healthy. You'll always regret it. So I've got to go and I've got to take a gummy and lay down. But I will be back next week and I will be talking about hard sci-fi movies. So we'll be back to our normal, regularly scheduled program. But if you liked Zach, do not worry. He will be coming back. like I mentioned at the beginning, I've been trying to get him on here for an episode on post-apocalyptic movies or zombie movies or something along those lines, survivalist movies. Yeah. So look forward to that. And again, check out Unique Prepping. Do you have any final thoughts, Zach? Okay, take your time. Shane, are you still there? Shane, wake up. Nope, he's gone. So thank you, everybody in the chat. I saw Heather. I saw Indy, Tracy, BBB, Nicole. Who else is in here? Auntie. Sheldon's birthday is the same as Albert Einstein. I actually didn't know that. I'm not marrying you, Danny. I know what you do to your spouses. And yes, thank you, Tracy. I will feel better soon. It's just every once in a while I get back issues. I have really thin, whatever those like vertebrae, the cartilage between your vertebrae discs. Yeah, I have really thin discs. So I always wind up with back trouble. I've been that way my whole life. Well, that would be fun. Like the hacker crew from Live Free or Die Hard. Oh. And Danny, you haven't seen the movie, but I'm convinced you'd probably think it was terrible anyway because you're Danny. I tease. Oh, and later today, in like an hour, I've got a remaster of my review of Tremors coming out because that was another Universal movie. So that means it got hit by a bunch of copyright and got blocked in a bunch of places. So I had to redo it because YouTube is fun. Correct. No choice. And you have to watch the sequel too. You just have to. Oh yeah, and Thrash. I'm sure Thrash is having a stream tonight. He told me what the topic was, but I already forgot. So I'll see you there. I may not be the most sober, but I'll be in the chat. I'm looking forward to not being sober at the moment.
Thank you, Tug, for having me on to talk about this series. I appreciate you and everyone. I'm hoping to do another potato update soon, and then I'm coming out with another Unique's World video too.
Awesome. I look forward to it. And like I said before, you should go check out the video that dropped on his channel yesterday. We were just talking about getting dressed. I think it's important to highlight the importance of little things in your day-to-day routine and how much you are probably taking for granted. So check that out. And yeah, I feel a little out of it. That's right, Indy, but I haven't actually taken it yet. Maybe I won't even notice. Yeah, and oh right, it's Labor Day. Have a great Labor Day. Celebrating work by staying at home. I'll see you guys next week. Until then, good night. Good.
Thank you and good night.
And we're out.